According to some people, some human lives don't matter. This is about a thread I'm following on LBC. Some lives don't matter, according to some, on this LBC thread. Go to LBC's site and you can pick it up. Let me read you first somebody who, after all, has been bold enough to put their name to what they post, so I don't think I'm violating any confidences. This is a public foreman. Let's quote his name. According to Pete Chambers, he says about people standing up and shouting during the inquiry, he says, "Boo bloody who. As far as I'm concerned, most of them should be arrested and deported. Ungrateful immigrants who wouldn't give a gnat's chuff in their country of origin. There is no issue here because there's nothing newsworthy even happened. Keep hearing about Grenfell, but it doesn't interest me as nothing of note." Listen to this. Keep hearing about Grenfell, but it doesn't interest me as nothing of note was lost. As nothing of note was lost. Now let's talk about Manchester and the attacks in London. Real tragic events that the press should be covering about real victims. Racist scum. Racist scum. Yeah. Do you I'm sure you do see why we live in the kind of country that we do. I'm absolutely sure you can see that. Of course, I gave a response to that. Of course, who wouldn't? Yeah. My response is absolutely irrelevant. But honestly, because some lives don't matter. Yeah? Some lives don't matter. They're immigrants. They're multi-occupants. Their lives don't matter. To people like that, how close are we to living in a dictatorship? How close are we to Sieg Heil? Let us deport some more of the immigrants and the undesirables. Let us gas some more disabled people. Let us make sure that work will make you free. Nazi fascist scum. And that post on LBC's site is littered with it. It's absolutely littered with the kind of racist bigotry that, pervades this country. The kind of racist bigotry that gets people like Farage to the notice of the people. The racist bigotry that's behind Britain First. The racist bigotry that's behind any of these far-right parties. Yeah? And the racist bigotry to which the Tories and the DUP obviously, completely and utterly subscribe. There is not just a class war going on in this country. Somebody, a very large group of people, clearly want to kick off a race war. I watched that clip where the guy from Grenfell was saying, our parents died in this, our friends, our kids died in this, our loved ones died in this. And he's looking at this chairperson of the inquiry and saying, you, important thing to quote, you dishonour the dead. You dishonour the dead. What else is that thread filled with as well? It's filled with, oh, you're making political capital out of a huge tragedy. And yet, the same little racist is about to go on about the Manchester attacks and everything, And he would be quite happy to make political capital out of that because white people were killed. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. This country is full of uneducated, racist bigots. There's another guy on there who seems, and I won't mention his name because he's not worth mentioning, yeah? It's not as bad as this guy, who seems to think that socialism was like National Socialism. How ignorant can you get? How can you compare a book like Robert Tressel's The Ragged-Trousered Philanthropist with a book by Hitler, a National Socialist, called Mein Kampf, My Struggle? For crying out loud, are people so ignorant that they think the word socialism applies to both? I could certainly compare the right with anything that Hitler came up with in Mein Kampf. They used the same techniques, they used the same bullying, they appeal to the same racism, they appeal to the same insensitivity, they appeal to a system that dehumanizes people, they appeal to hate. Totally. Socialism does none of that. Socialism is social. It is for the many, not the few. It is the benefit of humanity in general that we serve, that we want, we wish for, we yearn to build towards. That's what socialism is. Socialists, true socialists, killed fascists in the last World War. They didn't seek to, promote them to positions of power. My father fought in the last World War, and millions of others did. Socialism seeks to defend the democracy they defended. The democracy that is being taken away from us as, the latest one, prison officers are now legally not allowed to go on strike. You take away from ordinary people the right to strike, to withdraw the only thing they have, their labour, when negotiating with the bosses. You take away a fundamental human right. And this government has done it. So is it any surprise that we get people going, well, actually, some lives don't matter? Nothing of consequence happened at Grenfell. People died. Human beings suffered and are still suffering. I cannot believe, even though I know everyone gets a bit wound up on Facebook, and I know everyone does a bit of the old keyboard warrior, and I know everyone tries to present that persona on Facebook. I know they do. I quite understand that. But even if you take away from that, do you want to know why we're governed by people like me? Do you really want to know why? We're governed by people like me because people like that first one I spoke about on Facebook exist. They love that. They're dangerous. And we must fight racism wherever it appears. We must fight racism. We must fight fascism. We must stand up as Labour supporters against these people every time. We must bond with everybody in our community. We must protect our communities. We must save all lives. We must care for all people. We cannot, we will not, we will never allow these bitter right-wing Nazis to get away with comments like that. I'm angry, as you can see. I'm really angry. Please, please, please have a look at that thread on LBC. Yeah, you can find it. It's about, as I say, the Grenfell fire, and there was a presenter did a program on it, and it's only been on there a few days. So please have a look at it. I'll put it on my Facebook page as well. So if you want to go to my Facebook page, you can see the whole thread. I thank you for watching, and actually, I ask you please to forward this on. Thanks.